Welcome to the Kenobi Podcast. I'm Chris Kenobi. Talk to him, brother.
Hello there.
You gotta tell you, I love my podcast. I wish more of you would like and subscribe, but I still love my podcast. All right. It's about 1 a.m. where I'm at. And I'm sitting here and it's looking outside into the big black dark. And I'm feeling alone. I'm feeling quite lonely today. Do you guys ever get like that? Do you guys ever get lonely? Do you guys ever feel like there's no one in the world that understands you but you? Do you ever feel like there's nobody in the world that gets you but you? Do you sometimes feel like even you don't even get you? And do you feel like no matter how many people that text you, how many people that ring your phone, how many people you talk to at work, you still feel like the only person in the room? And what if you do got a lot of friends? Heck, what if you're surrounded by people all the time? What if you're a liked person? What if everybody thinks you're cool and hangs out with you all the time? Everybody's texting. Everybody always wants to be around you. But then the moment comes. What do you do when the music stops playing? What do you do when there's nobody around but you? What do you do when you don't have any answers? What do you do when it seems like everybody who you counted on, everybody who you depended on, everybody that loved you, and everybody who pledged to you, I'll never leave you, I'll never let you down, I have got your back. The friends you trusted, the ones you stood by, the family members who you grew up with, all of a sudden, you got nobody. You're all alone in the cold, cruel world. And all you're doing is facing one of the biggest challenges of your life. And you've got nobody to tell you you can make it. You've got nobody to tell you that you're going to be okay. You've got nobody. As a matter of fact, everybody is dumping on you. Everybody is complaining. Everybody wants a piece of you. Everybody wants to just rip you apart and tell you that everything is your fault. You look around for a friend, you don't find one. You look around for a brother or sister, nobody's there. A mother and father are gone. A spouse is nowhere to be found. It's just you, and nobody understands that you're drowning. You ask yourself, how are you going to get up from this? Have you ever faced that? Have you ever faced that moment when it was just you? Nobody else, just you. And you came up short. You couldn't pull it out the bottom of the ninth. You couldn't hit that home run. You couldn't make it. You couldn't figure out what to do. And so you took one loss after another loss after another loss. And you never recovered from it. What do you do when it's just you? This is the quintessential question. Because as human beings, we were created by God to be together, to be social, to have somebody that we can depend on, to have somebody that would have our back, to have somebody that would understand. That's why the Bible says two are better than one, because if one person falls down, well, you've got someone to lift you up. But what happens when you don't have anybody to lift you up? What happens when you're on the floor and there is nobody to reach to? It's just you. And your knees are old and tired. And you somehow can't feel or figure out a way to get the heck off of this floor. There is no, I've fallen and I can't get up. You can scream it all you want, but friends don't know. Your family don't want to talk to you. Nobody wants to hear what you've got to say. It's just you on that floor. What do you do? Sometimes we want to depend on people. Sometimes we want to be able to lean on someone. Sometimes we want to be able, like I said, for someone just to hold your hand. But there are moments in life where it comes down to you and you. There are moments in life that sometimes you've got to prove to yourself that you can make it. There's sometimes in your life that nobody's going to be there to help you. There's sometimes in your life where either you're going to sink or swim. What do you do when you come to that moment? Some of us freeze. Some of us lock up. Some of us just says, "Oh, well, you know what? I just can't do it. Nobody wants to help me. Nobody wants to give me a hand. I've asked for help, but nobody understands." Some of us just makes excuse after excuse. Sometimes we don't know what to say. Sometimes we just think if we just put our head in the sand, somehow everything's just going to be all right. Everything's going to go away. If I'll come out sooner or later and all my problems will be over. It doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. Sometimes it's just you against the world. Sometimes it's just you. I want to tell you a story today about a guy who had it all. A guy who had all the friends he could ever have, all the family he would ever need, all the money he would ever have. But then one moment came in his life when it was just him. He didn't have any friends to his left or family to his right. He had nobody else he could depend on. These stories are there for us to learn. This is a story about King David. King David was a man that, the Bible says was a man after God's own heart. God loved him. But he had to go through a lot before he became King David. Before he was King David, he was a little shepherd boy that was beat up on and bullied by his brothers. He was just a guy that was out there by himself caring for sheep because they couldn't find anything else for his little butt to do. But then the moment came and he was chosen to be king, and God put him on a trail, and he had friends and he had soldiers and everything else. But then one day, it came down to just David and David. And David had to make a choice if he was going to remain David or if he was going to become King David. This is your moment. Are you going to remain that same person that somehow always finds someone to blame? And maybe there is someone to blame, but are you going to be that person that always has the excuse? Are you going to be that person that somehow never seems to hit the high note? Are you going to be that person that somehow your whole life story will be drummed up in one phrase: I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to be anything. I'm never going to be anybody. Life is just too hard for me. I don't have all the advantages of everybody else. Everybody else is doing better than me. Are you going to be that person? Are you going to be David? Or are you going to be King David? Let's find out what David did. So this is a story about David. So David's on the run. He's out with his soldiers. He's doing soldier stuff, and he comes back to his camp, and it's bad. And I'll pick up at 1 Samuel in the Bible, chapter 30. Chapter 30. I want you to go with me on this, and I want you to like and subscribe and comment and share. I know everybody does these on these channels. They always ask you to like, subscribe, and share. I'm asking you to do the same thing because it does help the algorithm. It helps get me out there with the messages. If this is a blessing to you, if you're getting something out of all the different platforms that I have, then like, subscribe, and share. Or unlike. Say you don't like it. Tell me something. Anyway, so 1 Samuel chapter 30, all right? And it says, "And it came to pass, when David and his men were come to Ziklag on the third day, that the Amalekites had invaded the north and Ziklag and smitten Ziklag and burned it with fire. This is David's camp. He was camped out in Ziklag and had taken the women captive that were therein. They slew not any, either great or small, but carried them away and went on their way. So these people raided the camp. The Amalekites raided the camp, and they took the wives of all the soldiers, the kids of all the soldiers, the horses, the donkey, the food, the treasure. They wiped out everything, and then they burned it down with fire. So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burnt with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captive. I still got my friends, though. If I'm David, I'm saying I still got my boys. I still got my family with me. I still got my soldiers getting with me. We're gonna be all right. We'll figure it out together. Right? We're all together in this, right? Anybody ever tell you that? We're all in this together. So this is what happened, though. And David's 2 wives were taken, Anohim the Jezreelitess and Abigail, the wife of Nabal the Carmelite. Now watch this now. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him, because the soul of all the people were grieved, every man for his sons and his daughters. I'm going to stop right there. I'm hanging out with my friends. I'm with my family. Disaster comes my way. I think I've got people I can count on. I think I got people I can depend on. I think I got people I can trust, people that know me, people that won't let me fall. But these guys were worried about their own families. These guys said they were grieving in distress. They were worried about their own families. They didn't have time to worry about David. As a matter of fact, when all hell broke loose and these guys lost their family, they tried to find somebody to blame. And the only person they tried to blame was David. He was the leader. David was the leader. And so everybody's crying. David's crying. And here's the thing. I want us to go back to this. Because this is important. They were grieved, the soul of all the people. Some translations will tell you that they cried until they couldn't cry anymore. Ever felt like that? I have. I have faced grief in my life where I have cried and cried and cried until I'm still moving my mouth, but there's no sound and there are no more tears. I've got nothing left. I have totally expensed myself of grief. I'm on the floor now. I'm on the ground. I have taken one of the biggest L's in my life. I lost my job. I lost my house. I lost my car. My health is bad. Whatever I'm facing, I somehow used to believe that I could count on other people. I used to believe that if I just pick up the phone and call a friend, somebody's going to be there to encourage me. I used to believe that if I needed something, I can pick up the phone and call my family members, and somehow somebody's going to cash at me something. Somebody's going to help me, but not now. These guys were only worried about their own problems, and that's what life is like sometimes. Sometimes people can't worry about you because they've got to worry about themselves. Sometimes people can't worry about you and your family because they got to worry about their own family themselves. Now that seems harsh, but that's truth. And sometimes when you need them the most to say, I've got you. When you need them to say, I can loan you that, I can give you that. That's the time that they say, I ain't got it. That's the time to say, I wish I could, but I can't. That's the time when they'll tell you it's the first of the month. That's the time when they just won't answer your text. That's the time when they just won't get back to you. And you find yourself like David, alone. Alone. No one to help you now. No one to pick you up. Nobody to give you the answer that you need. Nobody to help you figure it out. What are you going to do? Because we would like to think that we'll always have somebody to depend on. We would like to think that somebody will always be there for us, but sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes parents pass away. Sometimes brothers and sisters pass away. Sometimes family move away. Sometimes your kids grow up and leave. Sometimes you're all alone and there's nobody else to tell you, I've got your back. What do you do when it's only you to depend on? What are you going to do? David showed us what to do. The first part of it is I'm going to show you what he did. It says David encouraged himself. We're going to stop right there. I know there's another half, but I'm going to stop right there first. David encouraged himself. Sometimes you got to pick yourself up. Sometimes there's nobody to pick you up. I don't care if you got to crawl till you can find something to pull you up, but you've got to get up on those bad knees all by yourself. Sometimes, not for nothing, I've got bad knees. And there was a time I fell out of the bed. Now, my kids weren't around to help me. My wife passed away and I'm on a hardwood floor. What am I going to do? I can lay on the floor and sooner or later somebody will come and help me, right? Or I can say to myself, I am not going to stay on this floor all night. And so I hunched and I scooted and I crawled until I could find something to help me get my bad knees off of that floor. Sometimes you have got to scoot. Sometimes you have got to crawl. Sometimes you've got to pull something and pull yourself up to get your bad knees off that floor all by yourself. Because there's sometimes in life where there is nobody to help you pick yourself up. And that's the truth. Sometimes you gotta, when you're depressed and when you're sad and when you need somebody to call to give you a joke or make you feel better, sometimes you gotta be like David. It says David encouraged himself. He filled himself up. Sometimes you got to believe in yourself. Sometimes you got to speak life into yourself. Sometimes you got to tell yourself, darn it, you can do it. Darn it, get off that floor. Sometimes you can say to yourself, you are not going to go out like this. You're not going to lose like this. You're better than this. Sometimes you got to tell yourself, all you need is you. Sometimes you got to tell yourself, you can do it. Sometimes you got to play a rap song. Sometimes you got to play some music. Sometimes you got to do whatever you got to do to get the will in your body to move and not stay still. Because if you stay still, you're going to die. If you stay stagnant, there's no life. You'll stay on that floor. And when they come and they look down on you and say, what you doing on that floor? Well, there was nobody here to help me. There's nobody here to pick me up. All y'all were gone. There's nobody to help me do what I need to do. It's just me. So I just laid here. And sooner or later, I figure sooner or later, y'all will come home and help me. How long you going to stay on that floor waiting for somebody to pick you up? How long you going to stay on that floor waiting for somebody to come and tell you you could have got yourself up? How long you going to wait until somebody looks down on you and with that look that says, man, this is ridiculous. This guy could have picked himself up. How long you going to wait until you start to build yourself up from the inside out, until you start to speak life and speak encouragement into your heart and soul to tell you that you're better than this, to tell you that you can do it, to tell you that you will make it, that you will get through this, that you will get over that. Sometimes you've got to as my brother used to tell me, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Sometimes you got to grab your own bootstraps because ain't nobody around to pick you up. And we're in a time right now in this world where everybody, like David's friends and family, seem to be only focused on themselves and their needs and their desires and their wants. And so they're just not, it's not that they don't care. It's just like, and sometimes people just don't care. But it's like, hey, listen, everybody got a survivalistic mentality that I've got to care for mine first. So when they're telling you, I'm sorry, these guys, my wives are gone too, David. I'm sorry, I'm too busy worrying about my family to worry about your two wives that are gone. What are you going to do then? Don't stay on that ground. Don't you dare stay on that ground. You encourage yourself. You pick yourself up. You tell yourself you're going to be all right. You tell yourself you'll figure a way out of this. You tell yourself you will rise. You tell yourself to rise. David encouraged himself. Now let me give you the other side of it. It said he encouraged himself. It said he encouraged himself in the Lord his God. David knew, if I can't depend on mom and dad, if I can't depend on brother or sister, if I can't depend on Sally and Steve, there's one person that said they will never leave me. And there's one person that said they will never forsake me. There's one person that says they will always have what I need. There's one person that says my riches are inexhaustible. My wisdom is incomprehensible. There's no problem that you have that I can't give you. David knew there was somebody that will say, when nobody else and his friends and family wouldn't say, we love you, there was somebody that would say, David, I love you. There was somebody that would say, David, I believed in you. There was someone that says, David, I'm inside of you and you can do all things through me. There was somebody that David knew that he can count on when the whole world turned against him. And that person was the Lord his God. That person's my God. That person's your God. That God will never turn his back on you. That God will always believe the best for you. That God says in Jeremiah 29, I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a future and a hope. Now, if you're on the ground and your knees are busted and there's nobody around to grab you and pick you up, if you heard something like that, if somebody said to you, I know the plans I've got to you, they're not for you to stay on the ground. They're plans to prosper you, to make you whole, mind, body, soul, and circumstances. They're plans that will give you a better future than what you see today. They're plans that will give you a hope in tomorrow, not for you to feel hopeless in your now. Wouldn't you want to encourage yourself and want that guy around you? David found that guy. That was the Lord, his God. So there were some things that David physically had to do to encourage himself, but David knew that that wasn't enough. David knew that he had to encourage himself and understand that there is one person that will always love you. There's one person only, because see, we're all fallible. And sometimes you guys can tick me off too. Sometimes I can tick you off with a bad post and you dump me for a week or 2 months. You unsubscribe. I don't know. But I know that there's one person that even when you unsubscribe, he's going to say, Chris, I believe in you. Do you believe in yourself to keep going? Chris, I believe in what you're trying to do here. I've got a plan for you. I've got a future. My plans, Chris, are to prosper you. Mind, body, soul, and your circumstances. Chris, to give you a future and hope. No matter what you see right now, there is a better on the side here. I'm going to encourage myself in the Lord. I want you to encourage yourself. I am asking you. I know we all face these moments and maybe you're not facing it today, but you save this one, you hear? Because one day we all face moments where it's just us on the floor with our bad knees. We all face those moments where everybody else seems to turn their head and turn their back. We all face that moment where there is nobody to text. and there is nobody answering the call, and you have been blocked and you're being ignored, and everybody said you're not going to get up off that floor, there is one person that will say you can get off that floor, and his name is the Lord Jesus Christ, and he loves you. Now, if you find yourself on the floor and you never asked him for help before to get you up, 3-word salvation prayer. Jesus, save me. Jesus, save me. Jesus, save me. Jesus, save me. And just like he lifted Peter out of the water, when Jesus just said, Peter said, Jesus, save me. Peter didn't have to say a lot, just 3 words. You can say 3 words to get off that floor with your bad knees, can't you? You can say 3 words to turn your life around. You can say 3 words to show people just how strong you are in him, to show people just how proud you are of yourself, just how important you feel about you, just how much you have inside of yourself that when the chips are down and there's nobody else, you can pick yourself up off of that floor in the Lord your God. Because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save this one for me. I'm going to put it in my back pocket because I faced that moment. I faced many moments like that when I didn't have anybody. And I'm sure that if I tarry long enough on this earth, I'm going to face that moment again. But this time I'm going to remember what I have to do. Moment of